So just a quick, oh, excuse me, just a quick video. If I suddenly go quiet on X, it's because Musk and Starmer are packing a tantrum because I've reconnected with someone from the past, my puppy. I've started, yeah, my puppy. They don't want me talking to the puppy, but also because I've caused a lot of trouble for them because I've basically handed everyone the answers on what to do regarding everything that the king and Starmer have just done, and now they're pissed off because yeah. So, but one thing I'll say, when this election is called, and they are going to call an election, I promise you they are, because there's about to be a revolution in the UK after everything all the information I just handed everyone on X is the reason why they're not letting me post anything. So if I go quiet, that's why. But just, I mean, like, I don't care. It doesn't bother me. It's only X. I, I'll just write. And there's other ways that I can talk to my puppy. But what I want to say is this. Remember I said after the revolution that it would be new political parties that would rise up and take over from Labour and the Conservatives and the Green Party and Reform, restore UK. Rupert Lowe is the only MP that I've seen who's actually been fighting for the victims of Epstein and the grooming gangs and people like me who were ignored and exploited online with AI. And, you know, he's fighting for the victims of sexual abuse and, exploitation and violation of women and children and all of that sort of thing. He's also promised to scrap the ID thing, which I think Starmer has very stupidly just handed him probably the biggest backing. But what I can tell you is that there is another party that's going to be formed, and it may come from the Labour MPs that are resigning. They may be forming their own party. I said there were two new parties, and it looks like from all the resignations. Remember my new Labour dream, where I was giving that speech in Parliament and I got a standing ovation, and then I walked out that little wooden door and the Queen was smiling, and I was like, oh, shush. I think possibly that dream could be to do with, because all those Labour MPs are resigning, they may be forming their own party, and then it'll be possibly them and that Restore UK who become like the next big parties, and the Tories and Labour and that and Green and Reform and that go away. Like, you know, they become the minority, because after the revolution, everything's done differently. So if I'm still here, because I've got this feeling like I'm getting ready to go. I have this strong urge to get boxes and start packing and start getting rid of stuff, because I really think that I'm getting ready to leave the UK. I can feel it. I can feel it with every fibre of my being, and my feet are itchy. And in my culture, when you get itchy feet, it means movement, travel. I just have to. It means obviously I'm getting justice, so then I can go and get my stuff from that my ex is keeping hostage. But if I am still here by the time they have to call an election, I'll be voting for Restore UK. Rupert Lowe is the only MP I've seen with any ounce of moral fibre or integrity. He's kind of reminds me of the British version of Massey, Thomas Massey. So even he's posted stuff where he said that Putin wasn't the bad guy. But so just when they do have to call this election, this general election, don't just vote for Tory or Reform or whatever because they're not Labour. Please be very, very careful. Make sure that you look into all their policies and hold them accountable. When they come around and meet you, get them on camera promising everything that they're pledging to uphold in these elections, because unlike with America, you're not allowed to lie in order to get donations and stuff. Well, I mean, you're not allowed to do it in America either, but there's some lies you're allowed to get away with in America when you're having an election, and some lies you're not allowed to get away with. Where the United Kingdom is stricter with their laws, and so it's still, you're not allowed to take people's votes on a pledge that you don't deliver, because it's all there in the stuff that I've been posting. So what you have to do is you have to have it in writing or have them on camera promising, oh yes, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And then if you vote for them and they get into power, you've got the proof that they committed election fraud. And then you can hold them accountable. You have to understand that you are the voter now, and that they are your civil servants. They are the servants for the civilians, because they are civilians themselves. They are civilians serving the civilians. And your taxes pay for them. The judges, the government, the police, all of it, your taxes pay for them. They work for you, and you need to understand that. I've seen some horrendous things coming out about the Green Party, what they're promising. They're going to force everyone to go vegan. Like they're going to make it illegal to eat meat. So for someone like me who has food allergies, where the only source of protein I can get is from dairy and meat, I'd be starved. I wouldn't be getting enough protein. So yeah, just be careful. Don't vote for anyone who wants a war with anyone. Other countries' businesses should be no business of Great Britain's. I kind of feel like I'm leaving a parting message. Right now, right kids, I'm off now. Here's the list of instructions. I've handed you everything you need to know on X, which is why Musk and Starmer are packing a tantrum. Because Starmer knows that when word spreads about everything I've handed the people of Great Britain, he's in a shit ton of trouble, because what you need to understand is a couple of things that are very, very important for you to know as a British taxpayer and voter. And I say this with love, and no disrespect to the King, but under the law, when Britain goes to war, the Parliament and the King has to get permission from the taxpayer in order to do it, because the King essentially has to borrow the money from the taxpayer to go to war. But he's bound by law to pay it back. So see all the stuff going on in Ukraine and Iran, right? How they've been, the drones and the missiles and the planes and the submarines and all that sort of thing, that costs money. And it's essentially the government and the King taking that money from the taxpayer, but by law they have to ask permission to do it, because it's the taxpayer that has to foot the bill. But the King, by law, has to pay it back. And that was the whole thing with King George and the American Revolution and all that. That started all back then, no taxation without representation. That still applies, because it was British colonists in America who knew the law and took it to America, and then used that law to get King George to capitulate, basically, because the king can't go to war without permission of the British taxpayer, because they foot the bill, but it has to be paid back because he basically, oh God, what's the word for it? It's there on my latest thread on X. Something taking it's called, but it has to be paid back, which means that King Charles and Keir Starmer's government now have to pay the British taxpayer back for the bombing of Iran, the bombing of Palestine, and the bombing of Russia and all that. They have to give that money back to the British taxpayer. The other thing you need to understand is Calvin's law. And remember when the king sold that house to Zelensky, that house was paid for from money that Zelensky stole from the British taxpayer. I don't know what the law for that is, whether that's considered money laundering or what, but because Zelensky and his government are under investigation for stealing hundreds of millions of pounds from the war fund for Ukraine, he's used that. He's also in the Epstein list for human trafficking of children and young girls. As Starmer, he's basically used money that the British taxpayer has been forced to pay in order to buy a house off the king. So the king has £20 million in his bank from the sale of a house that the British public paid for through the war in Ukraine. And there is a law that I had a dream about called Calvin's Law, which actually makes it illegal for non-British born citizens to buy land from the king. So the king not only has illegal land purchase, it's the British public, the British taxpayer that paid for it. And because they haven't declared war against Russia and Iran, and they're pretending like they're not involved, but we all know they're involved because they've been sending missiles and weapons and drones and bombing and planes and Palestine and blah, blah, blah. All the money that we used to pull off those things without permission from the taxpayer, because Parliament have to go to the taxpayer to get their permission. You know, no taxation without representation, the Bill of Rights, the Petition of Rights, it's all that sort of thing. Because they didn't do any of that, it means that they've been basically stealing money from the taxpayer in order to commit war crimes, which then comes back on the king. So now they would have to be legally responsible for paying all that money back. So I'm just letting you know. And this is why they're pissed off, because I put all these laws in Calvin's Law and, you know, the Bill of Rights, Petition of Rights, Nature's Law, God's Law, all of that sort of thing. That's what I was putting in X when they decided to not let me post anymore, because they know they're in trouble. My puppy dream had double meaning. It had double meaning. It was like two dreams in the one dream. And all hell's about to break loose. I found a set of codes that I deciphered on a Wednesday back in 2024 that's talking about everything that's coming on Saturday. In regards to protests and that. So just what you need to do is, all I'm saying to you is, you have every right to be angry because you have been lied to for so many years about what your government have been doing behind your back, and you know what, now the king has completely turned a blind eye to. You have every right to be angry. You have every right to tear this shit down. You know, you have every right to fight the power. All I'm asking you is to do it the right way. No, because I see the thing is, I know things are going to get set on fire, and what I'm trying to say is, take the moral high ground. Don't give Starmer any reason to start bringing in the military with weapons and all that sort of thing. You're going to end up with the military and the police on your side anyway, I promise you. But we're going to have a couple of weeks of what's going to seem like madness and mayhem before everything dies down and everything is reset to start again, right? So what I'm saying to you is don't make it worse for yourself by doing things that gives them the reason to come in with lockdowns and clampdowns and incarcerations and all that sort of thing. Take the moral high ground. Take it to the media. Start the media. Get everything documented. Like I said, if they stop you having access to the internet like they try to do with me, get everything in writing and then take photos. Make sure you date stamp and time stamp everything, and then take photos of what it is you've had to write down. Get everything on camera, even if even if you have no access to the internet. I promise you, once this is all over, everything will be restored. Restore UK. Everything will go back to normal. Everything will go back to better than normal. But document everything. Get everything on camera and then just wait until the internet is set back up. Because remember what they do to me with my phone, they'll do to you with yours to stop you having access to the internet and that. But don't let that deter you. Just write it all down, date stamp it, because then when you take your photo with your phone, with your camera, it will automatically date and time stamp it as well. And yeah, don't be violent. Stand together. Muslims, Jews, Christians, Sikhs, atheists, gay, straight, bi, trans, whatever your religion, whatever your sexuality, whatever your political beliefs, like this is your God or your ancestors, or this is history in the making, calling for you to stand together as one. You should be speaking together as one. You have to be on the same page. Put your flags down and pick up the placard that say the same thing. We speak as one. Don't let anyone turn Muslim against Jew, Jew against Christian, Christian against Muslim, Muslim against Sikh, Hindi against blah, yada against who. Don't let them divide you. They might try and pull off psyop stuff with more anti-Semitic thing. Don't fall for it. You have to stand together. You have to stand by the Jews. The Jews have to stand by the Muslims. The Muslims have to stand by the Christians. The Christians have to stand by the Jews. And the Muslims, you've got to stand together. This isn't a fight. This isn't just about a fight for you to defend the right to believe in the God that you pray to. This is about your rights and your freedoms as a citizen, as a human being, as a taxpayer, as a voter, as a parent, as a business owner, as a whatever. You're all in the same boat in this. You're all in the exact same boat. So you have to row together in order to get to shore. Do you see what I mean? So don't go anywhere with any Palestine flags or Iran flags or Israel flags or anything like that, because you're just adding fuel to the fire. They want you divided. Walk together with the Union Jack. Walk together with the England flag, with the Scotland flag, with the Wales flag, with the Ireland flag. Walk together under one flag, and that is the flag with which has the flag that you call home. If you live here, this is your home. So you carry the flag of the country that gave you a home. That's the flag, that's the rights you're fighting for, okay? So I've handed you everything you need to know on what to do, all the laws and everything. Use the law. Class action lawsuits as well, because it buries them in so much red tape, they pretty much don't have a choice but to back down. And if it ends up meaning having to abolish the monarchy, then that's just going to have to be the consequences of the king not putting nature's law and God's law before parliamentarian law. Unfortunately, it breaks my heart to have to say that, because I defended him for so long. but use the law against them. There are laws that I've handed you that nobody knows about, that they do not want you knowing about, that will hand you victory if you can find the right kind of lawyers who will take it all to court for you. If you can get as many people as you can filing a class action lawsuit against Starmer and the Labour government or Parliament, it ties them up in so much red tape, they'll end up having to back down because it will cost them billions. They'll have to pay out billions for the laws that they've broken. And trust me when I say they've broken dozens upon dozens upon dozens of laws. Even domestic violence, believe it or not. Cruel and unusual punishment. These are all the kind of laws that the Queen was pointing out. God's law, nature's law, Calvin's law, all of it. Like, there's so many laws that they've broken that if you all band together and sue them together in a class action lawsuit, they will spend so many years in court having to fight the legal system, knowing that they've broken these laws. They'll end up just backing down and either having to resign, force a new election, and pay you out, and it will cost them billions and billions. So use the law to your advantage, but know the law. Okay, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not even British. I only know this stuff because I'm a quantum physicist. It's because of the physics that I do in quantum magnetics. That's the only reason why I know this stuff. And I just do as I'm told. When I get the codes and downloads, I just write them out and hand it to you. So arm yourself with knowledge. Learning is knowledge. Knowledge is wisdom. Wisdom is power. I've given you the laws that will give you the power to take this whole government and parliament down and force a reset, force starting again, tearing it all down to start again, and forcing the king to be held accountable for what he's allowed the Labour government to get away with. When you've got Keir Starmer standing up on the world stage calling himself a gooner, I had to look it up. When he's in the Epstein files for sexually abusing trans kids, when the World Economic Forum have him on video getting the BJ from trans kids in waiting rooms when the World Economic Forum's going on, and then he's in the Epstein files for trafficking children, and he's been caught dressed in drag, and all that sort of thing, and Kevin Spacey recording him and Ed Miliband doing things to children and trans kids and that, and then he's on the world stage calling himself a gooner when Epstein was talking to him about the money he makes from trafficking children and stuff, and the Killing Kittens sex club with all the fetishes and all that sort of thing. That's gone beyond drawing the line. That's a humiliation that King Charles is never ever going to escape now, because he made that comment right after the King's speech. And that's public humiliation. The British Prime Minister on the world stage in front of everyone just called himself a sex fetishing, porn watching, self-pleasuring world leader. Fetish. It said that the gooning was someone who watches a lot of the pornographicals and self-pleasures, but especially in the LGBT prostitution, like it's all tied into that sort of thing. And remember in my puppy dream, it ended with Donald Trump dressed in drag as a hooker? Remember I said the dream had double meaning? Well, that double meaning was the man at the bar, the gay man at the bar that paid for my drink was my son. But remember when I was getting ready to leave and he said, I'll walk you out because I'm going that way anyway? That's my puppy. And I'm pretty sure my puppy is where I'm going to. Me leaving, I think I'm going to be with my puppy. So I'm helping you out one last time, I think. Because I can feel I'm getting ready to go. I can feel myself being pulled away. It's time to go. But I've handed you everything. I don't know whether it's going to be days, weeks, hours, I don't know, but I'm handing you everything because I know that the poop is about to hit the fan, and I need you to be safe because I've got your back. Because because in my darkest hour you had mine, the taxpayer. You had my back. In my darkest hour, when I was fighting to get out of hell because of the people that you're now having to rise up against, the exact same people, it was the taxpayer that had my back. And so now I've got yours. And I always vowed that I would pay the taxpayer back for allowing me to recover from the abuse and torture that I endured. You know, my stomach is never going to recover. The people who donated, the people who came out of nowhere in Yorkshire and donated everything that I was able to put in my home, from the carpets to the curtains to the pots to the wooden spoons in there. There is even the clothes on my back and the pajamas that I wear were all donated out of the kindness of the people of Yorkshire. And so my parting gift to you is that I vowed I would take Starmer and his government down so that you could have your election, but that I would pay you back for looking after me, for having my back so that I could heal myself and rebalance myself and recalibrate to deal from the shock and the torture and the trauma, that I would have your back. So me handing you these laws, me handing you all this information, this is 4 years of investigations I've done, 4 years of me doing research into the laws and all that in order to stand up to, you know, to fight for justice for me, ended up being the exact same laws that you now need to fight the same people. Keir Starmer, Palantir, Elon Musk, Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton because she's the CIA's Palantir. Even the King, unfortunately. Holding them accountable. I've handed you the laws. I've handed you everything you need. You just need a lawyer brave enough to file the lawsuit on behalf of the British taxpayer and the voter. So if you go to my X, you'll see, just click on the first link, you know, where you'll see the King, and just scroll down and I've handed you everything there. It's going to make you angry. It's going to make you really angry when you realise exactly what these people have been getting away with and for how long, and how many billions of pounds they've just stolen from you as a taxpayer. But I've done all the work for you. So you don't have to do any of the digging yourself. I've already dug their hole. I've already dug their grave for you. When I was learning to climb out of it, when they tried to bury me for whistleblowing on everything they've been getting away with since 2016, when I first started speaking out about my blog. I hope I get to see the UK before I go. There's so many places that I want to see before I go. I want to go back to Glastonbury. I want to have a proper look around Glastonbury. I want to go back to Penzance and Cornwall. I want to go to Portsmouth and do the whole Charles Dickens thing and see where the Navy was invented. And, you know, there's so many places I want to go to, but I don't know what God has in store. I just know that I really, in every fibre of my being, feel like I'm getting ready to go, that my puppy's walking me out. He had my back. Remember I said when I was interpreting the dream, he had my back. Now the interesting thing is, I wasn't sure who the puppy was back then. We had a very long period of being disconnected because of all the players in the game that I'm talking about. But we just recently reconnected once acknowledgement was established that there was confusion because of sabotage. That's all I'm going to say. But at the end of the dream, he said, I'll walk you out, because he was protecting me. Because he said, I'm going the same way as you. I'm going where you're going. So, and that's when Trump, dressed in drag, came out of the alleyway, dressed like a hooker. And then I woke up, doing things behind closed doors. What you see isn't what you get, that there's fakery and deception and lies. Well, when you click on my ex and you see the video of the king making his announcement, when you scroll down, you're going to see what was hiding in the alleyway, what you see and what you get. You're going to see the lies. The mask is coming off. Because I did my research, and it's years of research and years of investigation, because I didn't have the law backing me. But you will, because you're British and I'm Indigenous, so I mean nothing. My rights meant nothing, but your rights will, because you're British. But because I went first and I knew that you were going to end up having to fight the same people as me, and that you were going to have to fight the same power, I went first and did all the private eye stuff, detective stuff, investigation, research and all of that, to hand it to you, knowing that when the day came when you would have to fight the same power that I've been forced to fight, you will at least have the answers. I went first because I know you're all running around like chickens with your head cut off, not knowing what to do and how to deal with it and all of that. But because I knew it was coming all those years ago, I did the work for you. So you don't need to be afraid. Just follow the law. Don't break the law. Don't stoop to their level. Do everything the right way. Take the moral high ground. And if my sons choose not to come with me where I'm going, promise me you'll have their back. Because they were victims too, and they're British. They were born in Scotland. And they live in Yorkshire. And they're good boys, because I raised them. When I raised them, they were good boys. My boys are good boys. They've just been led astray because of their father. He got into their heads. So if they choose not to come with me where I'm going, I will financially support them. You won't have to, no taxpayer will take care of my children. I will either pay for them to live here and foot the bill, or I'll send them to New Zealand so that they can go and get to know their Ngāti Raukawa side. They can go and stay with their auntie and all of that. I'll send them to their whānau. But if they choose not to come with me, just promise you'll have their back. Because without them, I have no soul. They're the reason why I get up and fight every day. Them and the kids. Well, they are the kids. They're, they're kids. My boys and the kids are the reason why I get up and fight every day. So I'm not going to force them. I don't want to give them any reason to hate me by forcing them to be with me if they don't want to be with me. But I'm just hoping that when I get justice, they'll see that I was telling the truth the whole time and that they were being lied to by the people who have now turned on the British. Everything that Chris and Martin and Rocio and that got involved in with Donald Trump and Elon Musk has now been used against the British. So their father is the reason why all of this stuff is now kicking off. He helped by slowing me down, by trying to stop me from having your backs, because when I found God again, my morals and my ethics flew to the heavens. And he hated me for that. And he knew that I was starting to be told things that could be very bad for him and the people that he was working for in the future. So they tried to shut me down, but it was in my fight for survival that I was able to do all the work and research to now hand you all the answers. So that's going to be my parting gift. It's just that if my boys choose not to join me where I'm going, just promise me you'll have their backs, because they're good boys. They are good boys. They're so smart and they're so funny, and they used to be such gentlemen. They were the sort of boys that would open doors for you and pull out chairs for me and give me their coats and that when I was cold. And, they were gentlemen. They were good boys. Now they're my babies. I raised them right. And I used to get complimented for it, and they don't deserve to be what they've been put in. But I'm not going to force them to be with me if they don't want to. But you won't have to pay for a thing. I'll take full financial responsibility for them, but just keep them safe. That's all I ask. Don't give them any trouble. So, Restore UK. Give them a look. Take a good look at them. Look at Rupert Lowe, because he's the one that has been pushing for the Epstein files to be looked at. He's the one that's been going to court for the grooming gangs and, the victims and all of that sort of thing. He's actually been in the courts fighting on their behalf. That's the kind of person you want. The one who fights for the voiceless, the one who fights for the silent masses, the one who fights for the underdog, the one who puts the interest of the British people before foreign nationals or foreign investors, that sort of thing. So give them a look, seriously. But there's another party yet to come in. It may possibly be coming from the MPs that are resigning, that are apparently going to be starting a new political party. But check them out. Don't just automatically vote for the other one because that one screwed it up. Have a look at the ones that don't get all the attention, because you have to kind of question, why isn't Restore getting the public support on social media and the media that like the Tories and Labour do? There's always a reason, and it's usually because the underdog parties are the ones that have the most ethics and morals. They're the ones that are less likely to be bought off and paid for by, like, your Palantirs and your Elon Musks and that sort of thing. Elon Musk is saying he's going to pay for all the Republican campaigns for the next election and all that sort of thing. That wouldn't be allowed to fly here. So don't let people buy your vote. Make people earn it. And with people like Rupert Lowe, he's out there trying to earn your vote by guaranteeing a safer future for women and children and your national identity and your privacy. He's in the trenches fighting for those things, and they're the most important things. Okay, so I'm going to go now, but I'm sorry I got emotional. It's just I really feel like I'm getting ready to leave. I feel like I'm saying goodbye. Like this is my swan song. I really feel like, yeah, I'm getting ready to leave, and I need to make sure that we're all on the same page and that you know what to do now so that you're less afraid and you're prepared for when the uprising comes. Just don't stoop to their level. No violence, no hatred, no anti-Semitism, no Islamophobia, no anti-Christian stuff, no name calling, no anger, no rage, no setting anything on fire, no beating each other up, no fighting with the police. You have to understand as well, with the police, a lot of them really, really don't want to be there. And a lot of them are resigning due to mental health issues and PTSD and that, because of the things they've been forced to have to put the people through, and it's that they're suffering as well. So look after the ones who are standing in the background quiet, and deal with the ones who are using this opportunity to take their rage and anger out on you by taking the moral high ground. Just remember that if they're pushing you around and dragging you and beating you up and that sort of thing, and you're not fighting back, if you can get any of it on camera, when you get to rebuild, that's when the lawsuits come in. Because it's cruel and unusual punishment. If you look up what cruel and unusual punishment means, it's like a whole slurry of things, but cruel and unusual punishment can also be when you punish someone for talking in public. So it's violating your rights for free speech and all of that. So just document everything. I've told you what to do. And so if I go quiet from now on X, I'll just post them a little community thing here on YouTube. But I'm just going to sit back and watch now. And I really think that I need to be getting ready to. I'm going to start going through my stuff and start getting rid of things, because every fibre of my being is saying that I'm getting ready to go. That my puppy's... Oh, my puppy is going to walk me out. Walk me to safety. He's got my back. So we're heading in the same direction, so I must be going to be with him. I know it sounds weird saying my puppy, but it's just because I'm referring to my puppy dream. So I only just figured out yesterday who my puppy was last night. So yeah, I wasn't sure, but like I said, it's double meaning. That dream, one dream I had, was predicting two completely different scenarios that were going to play out within 24 hours of each other. Quantum magnetics, eh? So, as promised, I got you back, Great Britain. And It's just my way of thanking you for allowing me to have this time to heal from what I was put through, because what I was put through happened so that none of you will be put through the same thing that I was. I went first so that you won't have to. So, I'll speak to you later. God bless you all. Mwah.